Hello, everybody. Good Tuesday evening or afternoon, early evening, wherever you're tuning in from. This is the Money Stop. We got a new episode coming your way this week. Originally, we said we weren't going to drop a new episode, but here we are. Oh, man. Laner, from the last time that we talked, a lot has happened. What'd you say?
Yes, very much so. Enough has happened to make us have an episode.
Yeah, and before we start, I'll um I'll go over like what we're gonna talk about this episode. I just want to make a quick disclaimer that I I think I want to make it very clear to like anybody that tunes into our podcast weekly or just to anybody that tunes in general to this that these are strictly my and Laner's opinions. Anything that we talk about is our opinions on here. If you know you have a problem with our opinions, then I suggest you just don't watch. Um, and I meant to make this comment at the last week's episode and the one before that because I feel like um, it needs to just be said that if you don't like what we're saying, just don't watch. It's that simple. But this podcast has also brought a kind of new perspective at RoMuscle, and I'm really enjoying my time doing this podcast. And I don't know, I would assume later is as well, but um,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think it just has to be thrown out there because you guys have the option to watch. You're not forced to watch, and you don't have to by any means. But we're obviously thankful that you guys take the time out of your day to just tune in and watch and listen. But yeah, okay, we got that out of the way. I'm not gonna make a big thing out of it, but just some things we're gonna be talking about on tonight's episode. So, first we're going to talk about the Kansas race because we got to debrief that. I mean, that race was insane. Um, and the finish obviously was even more insane. But we'll get to that in a minute. And then we're going to talk about some lag fixes going forward in the game and with the cars and what we expect from this weekend on out to the rest of the season. Then we'll talk about this week. It was announced, or I guess late last week. I'm not really sure when that announcement came out, but there's now a 9 car cap at races going forward. I guess until um, the confidence level has risen to a point where we can have 10 cars back out on track. Um, so we'll talk about that and talk about what that means for just qualifying and what that means for just how much more important the races will be. And then we'll get into Talladega. We got a couple schemes to go over, and the news came out last week or this week again, can't remember. That the throwback race is sponsored by Rocar, and it is going to be called the Rocar 500. So very cool. Looking forward to that. We'll get to that sooner in the soon in the episode. And then there was a bit of a mix-up at Rocky Top Motorsports. Uh, Kragus is leaving, um, but we can get into that later. That's a whole nother topic in itself. And then we have a very special announcement at the end of the episode. And I'll keep it very under wraps for now, but it is something you guys will very much like and something that you should definitely tune in until the end of the episode to see. So, yeah, we got an action packed episode. We already talked about Richmond, so if you guys want to learn more about Richmond or just hear us talk about Richmond, tune in to our last episode from last week. We talked all things Richmond last on last week's episode. I don't know why I keep mixing up my words, but anyways, all right. Let's get into Richmond. All things Richmond. Um, Laner, I'll let you start because I know that Kansas is nearer and dearer to your heart, but Um, Go ahead.
You okay? You accidentally said all things Richmond. You mean all things Kansas, right?
Yeah, I mixed it up. That's my
So
bad.
no, you're you're good. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of upset I wasn't at this race because I've literally gone to every single Kansas race since 2020, both spring and fall. And the one time I decide to not go to the race, it's like one of the best races in the history of NASCAR. So it's like I don't know. It's kind of cool watching from home because I will say like when you're at the racetrack, it's kind of hard to know like really what's going on. Like if you're at the racetrack, you don't really understand like the fuel mileage stuff and you don't know who's low on gas or who like you don't really understand that stuff watching from the grandstands. So it's kind of cool to experience this race from home um in that perspective. But I would say like that race was outstanding. I mean, that was an all-time classic. You had everything really. I don't really know what it was lacking, but I mean, yeah, that was just a crazy race. I don't know what else Ford needs to do to win a race. Like at this point, it almost seems like a curse. So I don't know. There's a lot to get into with that, but yeah, I don't know what more Ford has to do to actually win a race.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm a little. See, here's my thing because Chevy never changed their body. You know, Ford and Toyota were the only ones that changed their body. So my question would be with Ford, what went wrong in that process of changing the
Hmm.
body? Um, I actually had a conversation with one of my friends the other day about this. If you look on the Ford body, it looks like it's flat on the front and then it comes up over. And the other two manufacturers, it looks much more smooth. So I think it helps with the air. Um, but I wonder if that has anything to do with that and their performance because, like last weekend at Dover, like Team Penske was nowhere to be found. And this weekend was like an kind of week for them, but like all three cars had problems. Well, I will say it was mostly just Cindric and Logano, but like Blaney wasn't really up there. Like he
He just
started,
didn't have speed. Yeah.
yeah, he was okay. You know, he picked his way up, but once he got to a certain spot, I think he finished like 13th or 14th, somewhere from like 10th to 15th or something. I don't know. But like, yeah, they were really nowhere to be found all day, and I think Busher was really the only um contender, I feel like. And Gregson was up there, but Gregson didn't have like speed for like a Hamlin or a Larson, but Busher definitely had that as the day went on. So um yeah, I was like really pulling for Busher because I just know that Ford hasn't won and I kind of wanted a Ford to win. Um when Martin was picking his way up through the field, um, I was rooting for him, and I knew he was going to win the race if it stayed green. But I knew when the caution came out that it was over just because of how far he was when he took four tires. Um, but I was definitely pulling for Busher, and just a wild finish. I can't even like I can't even believe I witnessed that. You know, they talk about close finishes and how many times that it's been that close between um one and two and like I still believe that they were dead even. It's so close, but I still believe to an extent that they were dead even coming to the line. But just all around like a great race and a great finish. I'm very glad that I was able to at least watch the race because I almost missed it because I almost had to work, but I'm glad I was able to catch it, and it was definitely worth the wait with the rain. So
Yeah, and we could go down a whole other rabbit hole with Ford's problems, but I'll just touch on what you said. And I feel like after you've won the championship the past 2 seasons, like I don't really understand why you would change that design.
yeah,
Um, like I feel like they had something that was kind of working for him, and they just kind of switched. Um, yeah, I don't know. So like I feel like they should have just stuck to it and just worked with the flaws. But I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that rabbit hole because that we could literally talk for an hour about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was an amazing race. Um, and I think Kansas has kind of cemented itself as maybe the best track in NASCAR right now. Um,
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
agree
know
with
if
that.
that's like arguable because every single race we've gone to there with this new car has just been amazing.
Hmm.
And there's really no other track you can point to that has had amazing races every single race with the next gen car. So I don't know. That's my opinion at least. But yeah, that was an amazing race all around.
Yeah. I was just looking at this the finishers for last weekend at Dover because I was just curious. Blaney finished seventh, which isn't bad, but like and eh, just I think he's having a bit of a championship hangover. Um, I don't know. I just have not seen anything out of that team this year. Um, that really stands out to me. And then Cindric and Logano finished 15th and 16th. So I don't know if it's a Penske thing or if it's like a Ford thing because like the last couple weeks, Gregson's been running okay. Um, Briscoe's showing speed. Like the SHR cars are okay in speed, but um, like Kozlowski and Busher, I wonder more about. I think Busher's kind of entering that point in the year where he's going to become faster, and he'll be back to being a contender every week. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think like Talladega was a really good chance for the Fords to win, and like I don't think they really just threw it away because of how it ended up finishing. I think McDowell was losing that race one way or another. Just he had no way to really defend at the end. But yeah, I think that was Ford's race to win. So I don't know the next time that they have a chance to win now. But I'm definitely uh, I think their win is coming. Just with how close that they've been, um, I think their win is coming. I don't know when, but
Yeah.
it'll be there one day. I think somebody will finally break through and win.
Well, it was like this last season. I don't know if Ford went winless up to the point, but Blaney just came out of nowhere and won the 600. I mean, like nobody expected that to happen, but he just showed up, had the best car all day, and won the race. I mean, I feel like Ford could really show up any week and win a race. Like, I just keep waiting for it to happen, and it's just not happening. So, I don't know. Like, they're capable of winning any week.
Right.
They just haven't put it together yet. So, I don't know. I feel like they will win a race soon. I mean, heck, it could even be at Darlington for all we know. But I mean, we're getting later and later in the season. I mean, next week is the All-Star break. And then you have like what, 13 more races until the playoffs. So
Well,
you're
actually,
getting
the
into
600 is after that. So the 600 is
yeah.
after North Wilkesboro.
So you're getting into crunch time. I mean, if you
Yeah.
don't win a race soon, then I mean, you might as well just throw this season away. If I mean, you're almost to that point. Like, I don't know,
Yeah, and
because there's
I
not.
know Blaney was like kind of like a late bloomer, and that's probably how it'll play out this season though. Like, because I always say that the first half of the season is always different from the second half because it's so long, and there's always players that come and go in the season. Like for instance, Kyle Busch last year won what 3 races last year in the spring from like May to July or something, and after that he kind of just fell off. Like he was consistent, but he didn't win for the rest of the year, and that team was fast. Like before the summer. They were very, very fast. And then it kind of just, it fiddled out. So I wonder like who's gonna fiddle out and who's gonna have like a really bad summer stretch. Um, and I've been thinking about this too. I wonder if Hamlin or a Larson can, keep the momentum going through the summer and into the playoffs because there's so many races between now and Darlington when they come back for the regular season finale. So I just wonder what's going to happen with that if they can keep that going.
Yeah, and I almost wonder. I'm not really worried about Larson because Larson's just always good. But for Hamlin, I wonder if he's kind of peaking too soon because I don't know. It's just such a sport of momentum. Like Larson, he could go win any week, but like if I feel like with Hamlin, like historically, like he doesn't dominate for the whole season. He kind of goes in stretches where he'll dominate and then he'll kind of cool off.
Hmm.
So I wonder if maybe that team is peaking way too soon because I don't know. Like, are they going to have the same speed right now? When it comes to the round of eight, I don't know. Um, I hope not. I don't like Denny Hamlin. Um,
I don't like him either, just because of Richmond this year. But um, the one thing I will say is that he said on the pre-race show, um, on Sunday that he said he's going to win the championship this year. He said
yeah,
it's
he called the
basically,
shot.
yeah, he basically said it's now or never. And he backed it up when he said he would win at Dover. So I don't know. It's something to watch, I think. I like his character. I just he's an asshole sometimes. I don't like him.
He
Um,
he is. Yeah,
as a Toyota, uh, as a favorite of Toyota, I have to like him for now. But once Martin retires, yeah, he can go to hell. But um, yeah, I think just him, like he said every year that, like, when he's in the right position, um, that they can go out and win it. And then I feel like in the championship race, they always find a way to screw themselves. So
mhm,
uh,
yeah,
I don't know, but we got to move on, man.
yeah.
Um,
We could talk about this for the whole show. So
yeah. Um, Next, they got Darlington on Sunday, so that'll be interesting. Maybe we can talk about that on next week's episode a little bit, just depending on what happens. Going to be the throwback race for them, so I'm interested to see all those cars on track. They have so many good cars this year. Um, it like blows last year out of the water, but there's so many good cars this year with throwbacks. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them all on track. And yeah, I think they'll look good. So
yeah,
all right, moving right along here. Let's move to the next topic. So we're gonna talk about the lag fixes for a second, and this is Laner's thing, so I'll let him kind of dive more into like what the process has been. But just kind of uh, overall thinking, basically we had an off weekend because the cars just would not they would not work. I don't know what was going on, but like we just could not drive them at Atlanta. There was so much lag, and it was very, very hard um to see where we were going and to really like not crash the car. So Icy and Laner took initiative to try and implement a new lag update by Richmond this weekend. I don't know if it's officially been implemented, but um, I can say that they're working on putting that in and got some fixes going forward. So later, I'll let you kind of talk more about it if you'd like.
yeah. So most of the fixes are currently active in the game. There are a few more things that might be added as the week goes along, but for the most part, everything is in. I'm not really going to go into the details of what we did because I don't really know that people really care about it as long as it works. Um, but we did a few things that should improve the lag issue overall, and we had a test session. I don't remember when, but we had 8 cars, and nobody complained of any lag, which is very promising. And we feel comfortable having 9 cars on the track without any lag. We aren't quite confident enough to have 10, but we haven't done a 10 car test yet. So we're hoping sometime in the future soon that we can get 10 cars on track and just see what that's like. Because if that goes well, then we could possibly expand the field to 10. It's just at the moment we don't have any numbers to go off for that. And with Richmond being a short track, um, like we don't really want the first time we have 10 cars on track with this new update to be Richmond. So we feel comfortable with 9 cars, um, and we aren't expecting any issues. So hopefully we can get a 10 car test going, and if that goes well, then obviously uh, we could expand the field again. But we feel good about it. Very hopeful that it'll work, and hopefully we can focus on adding some of the other features into the game now that this is fixed.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hopefully having no issues the rest of the way, and sounds promising. So, we'll see what happens when we get to Richmond this weekend. Should be very, very exciting. To hopefully have no problems. But oh man. All right. I guess we can talk about the car cap. This kind of goes hand in hand with the lag fix, but also this was announced this week or last week, whenever. Um, Craig has basically put out something in the Discord that basically just said that going forward, there's going to be a 9 car cap, and the top 9 in qualifying move on to the race. So we have 10 drivers. So, like, if 10 show up, one will be eliminated. But um, I think, yeah, he said that points will be awarded for at least attempting to qualify. But I think this whole thing, I think for now is a good idea because it could improve attendance, and it could really keep people around for qualifying. I know a lot of people, like myself, show up late and most of the time don't qualify, and then I have to start in the back, which I'm fine with. But I think this presents more of a way to get people there for the entire time now. Like, just be there to practice, qualify, and race. Just versus showing up and just racing. Um, so I do like that this kind of makes qualifying more important, and hopefully it sticks. Even with 10 cars, I think maybe even a 10 car cap, if there's like 14 or 15 drivers down the line, sometime in the future, if you have a 10 car cap, for example, I think that would make qualifying even more important. So I do like the car cap. I don't know about you, Laner, but I think it's a good idea, at least to have for now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the people who get eliminated, but I, there's really no way around it. And honestly, it really puts more emphasis on drivers practicing qualifying because there are some drivers who are really just not good at qualifying. Um, like they might just really be bad at it, but they'll race decent. So this kind of puts an emphasis on qualifying, and in order to be competitive every week, you're going to have to put down a competitive lap in qualifying. You can't just show up and um, half-ass qualifying and expect to win a race because you're not even going to make it into the race.
Right.
So you really have to be at the top of your game, um, all around. And this is probably the most that it's ever been like that in the league that I can remember, where you really have to be perfect in all aspects of a race weekend.
And not only that, like Richmond of all places, like you're really gonna have to lay down a good lap to get in. I think that there will be enough cars where we won't have to eliminate somebody, but um, if it ever came down to that, I think Richmond is like the worst place just because this is only the second time we've been here. The first time we only ran half of the race, so we didn't practice and qualify there. Um, so I think just going forward, like some of the tracks, it will be very interesting to see how that plays out with qualifying. But yeah, definitely very, very important. And yeah, I think just something to watch over the next couple weeks. But yeah, not much to talk about there. Um, because we haven't seen how it'll play out yet with a situation where we'd have to eliminate a car. So um, I think there will be more to talk about when that decision has been put into motion at the racetrack. So, okay, moving on here. Next thing on the list to talk about. So, the throwback race for this season. We'll kind of spend the next maybe like 10-15 minutes talking about the throwback race because we've got a lot of paint schemes to review. But first thing, the race itself is going to be sponsored by Rocar, and it will be called the Rocar 500. Um, there's a very big backstory and a big significance to this. So anybody who has not been here before or hasn't been here in the Rocar era when we had Rocar around and active, the Rocar 500 was the season opener, and it was the race everybody wanted to win. When we were still doing it every season, and it was run at Talladega. So that kind of is a kind of goes hand in hand with each other. But um, yeah, it's just a very special race to me, but to everybody that has been in that race. So I think that changing the name to the Rocar 500 and sponsoring the throwback race is a really special touch. And a really kind of a nice nod to Rocar and just the significance around that event and what it was in that time. But yeah, I'm very excited. I don't know if like the trophy will be changed. I don't know if like we'd be getting a trophy um like a Rocar 500 trophy. For anybody that doesn't know what it looks like, it kind of looks like a Daytona 500 trophy just without the jet on top, the silver jet. It has a gold car. So I wonder if we'd be getting something like that, but I don't know. Um, but nonetheless, just a very special race and a very special weekend um, this season, especially because it's the throwback race. But what are your thoughts on this, Laner?
So yeah, I want to clarify to the things you just said. This race is basically just a continuation of the Road Car 500. It's like it's going to be the same event, the same race. We're just continuing it. Um, we haven't had it the past 2 seasons, but we really, me and Icy really wanted to bring it back because it was a really special race to us. But I mean, like this will like go in the road car history books. Like whoever wins the race this season will be considered a road car 500 champion. It'll be the same trophy, the same logo, the same track. Like everything will be exactly the same as before. So, I- I think this race is going to mean a lot more to the veterans that were around, like me, you, Land, Craigus, Lego, Icy, maybe Slater. I can't really think of anybody else who was still around back then that's currently racing in the Cup Series. But I would say there's at least 5 guys that are really going to want to go out and win this race. especially ones that have not won the Road Car 500 before, like me and you, or
Well,
Icy.
well,
Okay, well you were
I
close.
was
You were
a couple
very
feet from
close,
the line,
but
you know. There was another car there though. So,
and I this would be a whole nother topic, but I feel like that moment at the first race is kind of what started the legacy for the Road Car 500. Like I don't know, there was just so many crazy moments in that race, and I'm really looking forward to having that race continue its legacy. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. It'll be on the 4-year anniversary of Road Car. It'll be the throwback race. And the trophy is going to be on the line, so I mean, everyone's going to be going for it. It'll be really exciting.
and I think even then too, the newcomers this year, like, you know, a lot of the up and coming guys, I think that they'll still want to go for it just as much because, you know, it is another chance to grab a trophy, but also, you know, they're not just gonna step aside and let the veteran guys race it out. They'll be in the
Yeah,
mix, and they're gonna be fighting just as hard for that trophy. Considering it is a crown jewel. I
and it's Talladega, so I
Yeah,
mean, everyone's going to spend time up front.
yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's coming up in a couple weeks, so um, yeah, there'll be more information out about it soon, and we'll talk about it more soon on here, obviously. But um, yeah, that's just kind of like the layout of the race, and you know, a little bit of backstory to it. But yeah, we're both very excited for it, and we're looking forward to it. I think it's a good opportunity to kind of like look back on the memories that we've had um in that league and just kind of reminisce about it. That race alone, there was so many places where there was just so many moments on track. You know, you could like look at one part of the track and think of three different moments. Um, you could look at the start finish line and think of many moments there. There's just so many things too. So like that come to mind. So just something there to think about too when we get down there. But I'm
Yeah.
nonetheless looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a really good event.
Yeah, and just one more thing to add on to that. Last season we used like a newer model of Talladega, um, but I talked it over with Craigus. I think this was in I don't remember when, but we will be using the older version of Talladega for this race, which I think is very fitting because that is the track that we ran every single Road Car 500 on. Um, and I mean, it's the throwback race, so it wouldn't. I mean, that just makes the most sense. So I'm also excited to get back to that version of Talladega.
Right.
It brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah. And speaking of throwback, should we look over some schemes?
Yeah, let's go
Should
for
we
it.
Yeah, should we see what people have been cooking up these last couple weeks? They're coming out fairly early. I will say that. I didn't expect them to start rolling out this early, but yeah, we've got a lot of them coming in already. So I'm gonna kind of go in the order, and you can follow later, but I'm gonna kind of go in the order of just, I guess, how they were posted in the Discord. That's at least how I have it lined up on my end. But um, first we have BSR. This is Lego and Rondo's paint schemes. Let me see if I can put it up on the screen. There we go. So, Lego is throwing back to a 2011. I don't know why I said 20. 2011 Greg Biffle 16 car, and Rondo is throwing it back to Kevin Harvick's 2004 Goodwrench car. Both very solid cars. I love both of these. I will say I wish there was a little more with the Kevin Harvick car. Um, I just I don't know. Like, I wish there was just a little more, but I do like both cars.
Yeah, I think yeah, they're solid. They're good paint schemes for throwback race. Um, I guess Lego kind of started the trend of everybody posting their throwbacks. It
Yeah,
seems like he was the first one to. Well, actually, Land posted his before that. I don't know if you got that one. It
oh,
was above that one.
okay. I did not see that one, but I'll go over it at the end. We'll save his for last.
Okay. Uh, but yeah, I think the BSR cars are very solid. Um, yeah. I don't know. Should we like rate these like 1 through 10 maybe? Like all the cars?
We can. I would say I give Legos a solid 8 and Rondo's a 7. I just like I
Okay.
said, I just wish Rondo's had a little bit more um like
Yeah.
resemblance to Kevin Harvick's car, but I like both regardless. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would it's probably like similar. I like Lego's car a lot. I would give that probably like an 8.5 or an 8. And Rondo's probably like a 7. Just because and also I feel like they could have used the space a little bit better
Yeah.
on the door. So it's still they're still solid paint schemes.
Yeah. I agree. Alrighty. Moving on here. We're moving on to Jack. I honestly and he threw it back to Denny Hamlin's car, the FedEx car. I don't know what year this must have been, but maybe 2013, 2014, around that time. But this might be my favorite one, honestly. I really, really like this car. It came out really nice, and just there's a nice mix of everything. Just the colors and then the way that the number fits, I really like it. So, solid scheme overall. And this is one I'll be waiting to see on track because I can't wait to see how it looks.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of the better throwback schemes um overall. I wish there was like a comparison photo, but yeah, I would probably give that scheme like probably a 9 if I was to rate it 1 through 10.
Yeah,
Really
that's
like
what I
that
was
one.
just gonna say. Yeah, I'd say a 9. Okay. Up next here, I think is yours, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm following the correct lineup. So you decided to throw it back to the good old days and go with Rocar. Um, Talk me a little bit about like your inspiration and your thought about having a car like this.
Well, with the throwback race being on the 4-year anniversary of Road Car's founding, um, I just thought that would be pretty cool to run a scheme like that. I don't have a picture of Icy's car, but he's gonna be running like the same scheme except the colors are inverted. So like where you see
Gotcha.
the yellow, it'll be red, and where the red is, it's yellow. So we'll both have matching cars for that race, which is pretty cool. And I mean, it's really special to be able to run a car like that for the 4 years.
Yeah. Um, I really, really like this car. And this is again another one that I'll be waiting to see out on track. I think just very, very well done job. Um, I would say I give this about an 8. Yeah,
I'm
I'd
not
say I
gonna
give it.
rate my own car, but
I would say an 8. Yeah. I wish maybe it had maybe like moments on the back of the car somewhere, like somewhere on the car, maybe moments from the
yeah,
moments from row car. But hey, you still got plenty of time to change it. So,
yeah,
um, it's not set in stone for sure. But um, Yeah, I think that'd be a nice touch. Maybe put some favorite moments on there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Um. Next up here we have Kragus, and he is throwing it back to Cosmics, and this is, correct me if I'm wrong, McDonald's is uh like they created like a second business kind of, and it's like uh I don't know if it's like a snack business. It's kind of like the way it's set up is like a drive-through McDonald's, but they sell different stuff and it's just a different brand. I think that's what I'm getting from it. Um but in terms of the car itself, I really really like this car. I can't remember, is Talladega supposed to be a day race or a night race?
Um, I mean, I would assume it's gonna be a day race, but I'm not sure. I feel like we only did like one nighttime road car 500 to my knowledge.
Hmm,
That one was kind of wacky. So
yeah. Well, if hold on. Okay, it says this is going to be run in the day. I think if this race was run in the nighttime, I think this car would really really stand out. It
yeah,
might be harder to see just with the quality of the picture, but on the actual car, I think there's stars on it. Um, or it's like it looks like a sky like lit up at nighttime. So I think this would have really really been a good car for under the lights, but I think it'll still look just as good in the daytime. I would give this another 9 out of 10. Pretty solid scheme.
yeah, I agree. I would go with a 9 out of 10. I don't really have any complaints with that scheme. Um,
Yeah,
I could maybe even see like that scheme being ran at other races. Like I really like that scheme a lot. I don't know if that's something that he would do or not, but I think that would be cool to bring to a night race sometime.
yeah, I agree. I think you should definitely bring that back. Maybe later in the season sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Next, GFM driver here is Wendigo. He has got a Mountain Dew throwback. This is to Dale Jr. Back in 2012 with his Talladega car, I believe. Um, I do very much like this. Uh, the only thing I will say is that I'm not a fan of like the big white part going in the middle there, um, and the placement of the Mountain Dew logo in the middle of that. But besides that, a very solid paint scheme. I do like it. Um, and I think, you know, these are just our thoughts, but I think they'll translate more when they're out on the track and actually like turning laps and stuff. I think they'll look really, really good. We're kind of just judging these based off of images that were
Cheers. Yeah.
pre-made and, you know, um, really just showcase the car, but it'll mean something more when they're out on track itself. But a solid car, I would give it a 7. I'd say yeah, I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same as you. I don't really know what's going on with the back part of the car with the logo and stuff. Yeah, like that's really like if that was fixed, I don't know if that's supposed to be like that because with the reference photo, it's not really like that. So I don't know. But other than that, I think it's a great scheme. I would probably give it like a 7.5.
But it's still a
Yeah.
solid, well done job.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Um,
other than that, amazing scheme, and if that was fixed before I mean, my rating could go up by a lot if that was maybe tweaked or something by then.
yeah, and I don't want people to go and fix their car, just because we're reviewing it. Like, if you think it looks good, run it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
go for it.
yeah, I
Let the
really don't
two
care. We're
people's
just giving our
opinions.
thoughts.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, good. Good paint scheme. Okay, next up here we have Aiden. Oh boy. He threw it back to Richard Petty. Just a classic blue Richard Petty 43. And I will say Aiden did a really good job with this car. I'm really, really impressed. You can never go wrong with a Petty blue, I feel like. So, um, just a really good job by Aiden. And I would say I give this a solid 8. Give it an 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would give it an 8 as well. I can't really tell from the picture if that's like the correct shade of.
He threw it back.
I know this is really a small thing to gripe about, but I don't like, is that the right shade of petty blue? Because it's really hard to tell from a picture. Like you said, like we won't really know until we get these cars on the track and we can see them. But I don't like, that's my only gripe. I don't know if it's the correct color or not, but I can't really um say anything until I see it on track.
I think it is the correct color. It maybe could be a little bit tad lighter or darker, but I think it's right in the ballpark of being right. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty
but
close for sure.
yeah, it'll look good on track. Just like Wendigos, we'll have to wait and see how it looks out on track. These are just pictures,
Yeah,
but still a very very solid job. Um, and just very. I think we have a good group of paint schemes this year. I'm really, really impressed with all of them. Um, but yeah, moving right along here, we're gonna move to my car next. And I decided to throw it back this year to MTJ's matte black furniture row car. I don't know what the kind of inspiration was behind this. I wanted to run something different than what I've run in the past, and I know in his early Furniture Road days that he ran that scheme a lot. But I really just I like that car as a fan and somebody who has that car, that diecast. Um, I just really really I enjoyed seeing it out on the track. So yeah, and you can never go wrong with Matt Black. Um, but yeah, I really really like how it came out. And Laner made it, so big thank you to him. But yeah, I'm not gonna rate my own car either, but just a very, very a very good job making the car and making it come to life.
yeah, I can't really rate it either. I made this game, but I think it turned out well, and I'm excited to see it on track.
Yeah. Alrighty. And then last but not least, we have Land's throwback, which I'll throw up on the screen now. He threw it back to Tony Stewart's Home Depot car. And once again, just a very, very nice paint scheme. I really I can't put the comparison photo up on the screen. He provided the comparison photo, but it looks very much identical to Tony Stewart's car. Um, and just a very well job done. Very well job done. I cannot speak. Um, a very good job by Land and just all of the people at Go Fast Motorsports that really put the time and effort into making these cars. I think they did a really good job, knocked it out of the park this season.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think Lance ran that car a few times at maybe test sessions, or I don't know. I've seen that car a few times, but yeah, it looks great. It looks even better on track from what I've seen. But
Yeah.
yeah, really good scheme. I would give it like a 9.
Yeah, I give it a 9 as well. Um Alrighty. So that concludes that portion of the episode. We are going to move into our next topic, which, if I can find my list, we're going to talk about Rocky Top. And this happened last week, I believe. So it's quiet quieted down a little bit, but basically, Craigus is leaving Go Fast Motorsports for a season. He's leaving at the end of this season and going to Rocky Top, if I understand this correctly. And he will be driving over there. I'm so confused by the move. Like I don't quite understand it. And then on top of that, they're switching manufacturers and going to Ford. Um, so I don't understand like where or like what the process is behind this. Especially if Go Fast Motorsports is going to stay with Toyota. Um, because then are you really an alliance team if you're switching to Ford? Even if it's for one season. Um, Laner and I were talking about this the other day, and we were saying that um, there is a rule in the rule book that you can't um, you can't drive for another team if they're not like aligned with your manufacturer, right? Right, Laner. I think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wonder if that will play any part into it if they stay with Toyota. Um, but just a very confusing move to me. Um, and yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. But Laner, you can give me your thoughts too on this because um, I'm still a little confused. But
Yeah, I don't really understand it. Um and yeah, that's the thing that kind of confuses me because if Rocky Top is switching to Ford, then all of GFM's sub drivers are like they're not where are they going to get sub drivers from? Because their feeder team is now with Ford and the rule book says you can't sub for your manufacturer. So I'm like, so now like if a GFM driver misses a race, like who's gonna sub for them because they don't even have a truck team, you know? Um,
right,
well, I guess I think maybe somebody um maybe TDM or someone switched to Toyota. I don't know, but yeah, those are just the things I think about. I don't know. Maybe I assume people at GFM have thought this through and they already have a game plan for this. I would hope. Um, so I don't know. They must have a plan.
yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see um, just what happens next season with that. I don't really know. I think like their game plan is to have Kragus back the following season, but I don't even know what the point is of leaving and then coming back, you know? So,
Yeah.
um, but we don't really want to jump ahead and start talking about it now because we aren't even a quarter
We
through
aren't.
this season
Yeah.
yet. So, um, I think we just have to focus more on this season and just focus on the teams and people now that are here now. And when we get to that point in the season where silly season starts happening, then I think it's more appropriate. But
Yeah, and um who knows if that might like I'm not gonna say they're not gonna go through with it. I'm just like we have a long season, so maybe they'll change their minds. Maybe Kragus will change his mind by the end of the season, or I don't know. Like it's a really long season. I don't really want to talk about. Plus, probably like another month of an off season before we even get to next season. So a lot of things could happen before then. Who knows if this is actually going to happen? I think it is way too far in the future to really be a 100% sure thing, in my opinion.
right. But just something to keep an eye out on. And as the topic becomes more relevant, we'll definitely have to talk about it more. But just a little mix up there. I'm not really sure what's going on. But yeah. All right, moving on to the next topic here. Okie dokie. We have a special announcement, and we're kind of coming up on an hour, so we're kind of making good timing here. But we have a special announcement to make, um, and this has kind of been in the works for the last couple weeks. But obviously, we started this podcast as a way to kind of become an outlet for this league and just to provide a little extra content, I guess, to feed your souls before we go back to racing the next weekend. So you guys aren't completely bored out of your mind, but also we understand that there is stuff going on behind the scenes and there's movements throughout the season, and you know we want to cover that. So um, this is our sixth episode. So still pretty early, but we look forward to being around for a while. And just thank you all for your continued support of the podcast. We want to announce today that we are running a Money Stop car at, what is it, Homestead in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'll put the pictures up on here on the stream so you guys can see. We're going to be running cars sponsored by the podcast. And like I said, this has been in the works for a couple weeks now. We are incredibly proud to be running these cars. We'll be running them at the same time at Homestead and then probably another race individually. Um, but just thank you for your support, and we're excited to put this car out on track. Later, I don't know if you want to say anything about this, but
Um, yeah, I'm really excited to get those cars out on track, and um, really excited to be sponsored by the pod. We put a lot of work into this, and I really hope that everybody enjoys listening. Um, Although some people, I mean, I'm sure everybody has times that they disagree with this. It We just make this to give you guys something to listen to and kind of pass the time in between races. So it's really been fun for us to do, and we hope that you guys enjoy listening. And it's really exciting to bring these cars out on track.
yeah, for sure. Um, and just you made the cars, so I have to give a hats off to you because you did a really good job um, making them, and taking the time to sit down and make them. Um, but yeah, very excited to run these cars, and it's another step forward for the podcast. Kind of expanding a little bit, hoping to have billboards at all of the racetracks soon, so at least get a little more coverage on the streams. But um, yeah, just very excited with where the podcast is headed, and we're excited to put these cars out on track and showcase it a little more. I'm gonna post the pictures in the Discord now for anybody who's maybe not watching the stream or just has no idea what we're doing right now. But
I was actually
um,
about to do the same thing.
oh, okay, you can do it then. I don't care. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm already almost done with it. So
All right. Um, but yeah, all around, just very excited for running these cars and for getting the opportunity to host a podcast. I think be a great showing at Homestead. So very excited. But yeah, that is gonna do it for us. I think we don't have anything else to really talk about. But I will say Richmond is coming up this weekend. It's a doubleheader, a true doubleheader. Both races will be in on Saturday. We're going to be racing the trucks first, 125 laps. Practice starts at 5 o'clock, qualifying to follow, and the green flag at 5:30. Stages are 40, 40, and 45. So very excited for that. I'll be running the truck race this weekend. So and it's going to be my first truck race. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to get out there and see what see what it feels like. I've never run in one of those trucks before, so it'll be very exciting for me. And just getting on a short track with a truck, I think, is very cool. Um, the cup race will follow after about 2 hours later, or however, 2 hours from the green flag and the truck race. I mean, but um, a little break in between, and then practice will start for the cup race. 175 laps, and then qualifying to follow. Green flag will drop at 8 o'clock. Going to be a longer race, so definitely going to have to strap in and get your popcorn because it's going to be very very entertaining. I think with a larger field, we might have some short track tempers, maybe we might, but yeah, I definitely am looking forward to it, and we'll have to see you next week. Um, we'll see you on the next episode of the Money Stop. I We should try and do these more on Mondays. Um,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
feel like it fits. Craig has said the other day in the Discord that because we had an episode last week and he called it Money Stop Mondays, which I kind of like. So maybe we'll start doing episodes on Mondays. But for now, while our availability is kind of in limbo, we gotta host or we gotta do episodes whenever we can and see when we can have the next one. But alrighty, from here in Daytona, oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Richmond this weekend, but signing off from Daytona. We will see you all next time, next week, whenever. All right, signing off. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Peace.